Alright, doing good so far. Got one game down in this Mario-thon. Now, to make a game without borrowing from another. I got this.
1 hour later.
Alright, come on ideas.
2 hours later.
I just need something. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something.
12 seconds later.
This isn't working. I need some help. Of course, even in space, everybody will crash in. How did you even get here?
Oh, hey, as Retro Man. Well, as usual, I had a little issue with my warp star and just conveniently crash landed here. What are you doing?
I'm on a mission of cosmic importance.
Oh, sounds sweet. Mind if I help out?
Oh, sure. Please, I'm no good at making games!
Game making? Don't know if my contract calls for that.
Too late, you're stuck with me. Mario 3, baby! So, Super Mario Bros. 2 USA was a huge success. Massive! Bigger than the sun! The multiverse! My ego! It did good, but there were still complaints. It wasn't a true Mario game. Not that many people mind, but when you compare the first game to this one, it is like Night and Donuts. They're both good, but what the heck? And Nintendo felt the same. They felt the itch to make a true sequel to Super Mario Bros. That didn't make you beat the game 8 times to see more crappy levels.
Heck, I still have nightmares about going through the hardships of such a punishable game, and to think extra levels way beyond saving Peach was even worth it. Mario, I don't even know how you do it, man.
So, the Shigeru Miyamoto Motorbike Gang went to work on Super Mario Bros. 3, and with the help of extra memory, delay for the Western release to help market the game more, and the wizard,
Super Mario Brothers 3!
Maybe someday I'll get to that, and I dread that day. The game finally released in 1988 in Japan, 90 for US, and 91 for Europe. We had to wait a long freaking time for this one. And like the rest of the NES Mario games, I played this through Super Mario All-Stars for the Wii. So, not much history with this one. What about you, Blast Master?
Well, Mini-Man, my first time playing Mario 3 was surprisingly also in All-Stars as well. I didn't have any prior knowledge on what I was doing at first, but over time, I guess you could say, it soon clicked. Quite the opposite playing the NES original afterwards and never beating it, only beating it by doing a crime that's worse than Bowser nabbing Peach on a spot. I used cheats. I know, I'm that kind of Kirby, but could you blame me? Some parts were tough.
You! I used to warp all the way to World 8 so often when I knew about the secrets. Never did beat a single level back then, huh. So, after all these years, what do we think of the game? Well, let's find out. The story starts with Bowser and his Koopa kids, or Koopalins, who now exist, stealing the wands of the 7 kins and turning them into animals. You may be asking right now, 7 kins? In the Mushroom Kingdom? What about Princess Peach? Well, no. These kins are parts of the Mushroom World, each one ruling over grassland, desertland, waterland, etc. As for the Mushroom Kingdom, well, apparently that is a gateway to the Mushroom World. This is honestly making my head spin, and this Mushroom World never gets brought up ever again. Sorry, I just really wanted to share that. So, Princess Peach sends the Mario Brothers to stop the Koopalins, retrieve the wand, and restore peace to the Mushroom Kingdom world.
Personally, I think Mushroom World sounds better. Anyways, moving on to gameplay, it plays like your standard traditional Mario game, with some occasional challenges along the way, for later levels that is. With some decent level design, the game not only brings back 2 power-ups from the first Mario title, rather it includes 4 more power-ups instead. Raccoon Suit, which allows you to fly. Tanuki Suit, to also fly and to turn into a stone statue for some ungodly reason. Hammer Suit, to barrage your enemies with a hammer attack. And the cute little Froggy. I mean, the Frog Suit, to have better control over in terms of swimming. Not recommended on land. What more can you want in any Mario game?
Yeah, the power-ups are great. Raccoon Mario may have a very small hitbox when it comes to swinging your tail to defeat enemies, but the falling slowly and being able to fly when you have enough running speed is satisfying. And for many, you might want to use Raccoon Mario over Fire Mario, depending on your confidence. The other 3, while pretty good, it's a bit weird how they're treated as rare power-ups. You have to go out your way to find hidden power blocks or mushroom houses, which I'll explain later, to find them. And they are sort of better. Really just depends on the situation. Tanuki Mario is better than Raccoon Mario thanks to being able to turn into stone so you don't get hurt. But that's about it. Blazer explained Frog Mario. By the way, to swim faster, you hold the A button, not just tap it repeatedly. I didn't know about it until recording for the review. This was a Sonic Hill special stage moment for me. And Hammer Mario? I really don't like all that much. Sure, the hammers can kill literally everything, but in true angry video game nerd fashion, it's always in an arc, which means it's so hard to hit anyone! There's one more power-up that only appears in one level. Goomba's Shoe. You keep bouncing along, but you're invulnerable to anything underneath you, from spinies to spikes. It's a shame they don't appear more often in the game, or throughout the series. The only other game they appeared in is Mario Maker. But yeah, good power-up selection. As for the levels themselves, they're pretty good. Some are a tiny bit easier than Mario 1, and most others can be even harder than that game. Of course, nowhere near as hard as Lost Levels. Lost Levels is going to be mentioned a lot in this Mario-thon, isn't it? The levels are huge, bigger than 2 USA. The screen can scroll just about anywhere with little limits. This is especially noticeable with Raccoon Mario. And there's so many new gimmicks with some of the levels. You've got quicksand, slippery ice platforms, giant enemies, bodies of water, auto-scrolling levels. You can step on P-switches to reveal hidden coins, doors, or turn blocks into coins and vice versa. You can jump on bouncy note blocks. This really puts Mario 2 USA to shame. And Mario controls a little bit better too. He still carries some momentum when jumping, but not as much. You can now pick up a Koopa shell after stomping on one and kick it to destroy blocks and enemies, and in general, he feels a little bit faster.
Despite having the same enemies from the previous game, Nintendo themselves baked a fresh batch of new enemies to encounter in-game, such as Paragoombas, the annoying micro-goomba that stumps the player's jumps while they're on you, Chain Chomp's first debut with their alter ego, Fire Chomps. And yes, they fly, and they can shoot fire at you, which makes for a bad time. Dry Bones and Spike's inclusion, who both would later be in more recent Mario titles. The Angry Sun savagely tries to fry Mario. Big freaking Bertha, who eats him whole. Cool alternatives to piranha plants like fire-breathing variants, and the ones that blows a spiked ball in the air like a party trick. Geez, maybe I should hire one of them for my birthday party. They can make for a really cool trick. Anyways, not only that, the Hammer Brothers are back in action, but who needs them when you have two cooler variants, such as Boomerang Brother and Fire Brother? It's almost like a Pokemon evolution. Shout out to Mario for doing it first. Other enemies include Walking Torches, Rotodisc, or a better nickname for them, Fire Waffles. Bouncing fireballs that follow Mario 2, Boo's debut, Still Chompers, Walking Chompers, a Buzzy Beetle wannabe that toss bricks at you, jellyfish, an underwater lotus that shoots fireballs at you. What is this game's obsession with fire? Big Koopas, big flying Koopas, big Goombas, freaking big piranha plants, big Hammer Brothers, cause why not? They're called Sledge Brothers, but yeah. And Bob-ombs, not to mention Wrenchmole making his first appearance too. Evolution is indeed one hell of a thing in this game.
Not only are there new levels, but there are also maps, which is really cool for Mario. They're still mostly linear, beat a level and move on. But now, you can branch off to 2 different paths and choose which level you want to do, or both if you feel like it, which is awesome. If you're stuck on one level, try the other. And there's more to do than just beat levels. You can find mushroom houses to pick one of 3 treasure chests for a power-up, which you can store in a little box. So, say you're having trouble with a level. You can enter a level as Super Mario, or Fire Mario, or Raccoon Mario, or Invincible Mario, whatever power-up you have with you. You can also find card games and more power-ups or extra lives, Hammer Brothers which rewards you with more power-ups if you beat them, and there are special power-ups you can find only on these maps. You can use the P-Wing which lets you fly without limits as Raccoon Mario for a level, the Cloud which lets you skip a level, the Hammer which can sometimes uncover a secret, and the Music Box which puts the enemies on the map to sleep while playing a nice remix of the Mario theme. If you get a game over, you will start again from the beginning of the world. However, if you beat a tower level, a locked door will disappear even after a game over. So if you do get one, you can continue from that point, which is nice. There are also loads of secrets to discover. Plenty of 7-Up mushrooms, lots of vines that will take you to more goodies. You can find a ship full of coins by meeting some very specific criteria. If you crouch down long enough on these white platforms, you can go into the background. And return from the other games, you can go to the warp zones by fighting these hidden warp whistles. And these are a little more hidden than the warp zones from the previous games. This also serves as an apology for lack of a battery backup to save any progress. And good thing too, because this game is pretty lengthy and can kick your behinds as soon as swell 3, or 2 if you're a sore loser like I once was in my youth. Surprisingly, I didn't have too much trouble during my playthrough. I don't recall getting game over, I think. But mark my words, it is hard. I like it. Not sure what the heck happens during the Let's Play.
Oh shit, that's like super weird.
Actually, that
You're right there!
Huh? Oh my god! Yeah, we're just. Yeah.
You,
I was close!
Can we end the Let's
you
Play already?
cupcake baby wipe!
We can't do this, Ty.
Where are you going? Oh wait, why is the bridge?
Go to the mushroom. I freaking hate America!
Smash Bros are anything but this already. We can play Mortal Kombat X.
could've played Mario up, but no.
It'll be less torturous than this.
No, I am not in the mood for Mortal Kombat X after this.
I'm so sorry.
At least you gave your all and tried to pull through. Best case scenario, that is. About the game's multiplayer, just like in the previous adventure, in Mario Bros. 1, it remains the same, still taking turns in the process to save Peach. It's only with a twist with things like a built-in battle mode if one of the players land on each other's space while the other player is already on. Not to mention, if one of the players uses the warp whistle, then they are both sent to the world that's selected. Pretty unfair if you ask me. Unfair if I was the second player wanting to experience the rest of the level. Overall, everything else is just a race against time to stop Bowser in his tracks.
There is one major difference. In Mario 1, you only took turns when the other player dies, while in Mario 3, it's when you die or beat a level, not counting the mushroom houses. Also, when player 1 gets a game over, the levels they beat, you have to beat again. But the other players' levels are still considered beaten, so you potentially don't have to go through the whole game again. This makes the multiplayer mode less of a competitive mode and more of a co-op mode, since you'll be able to make it through the end much easier. I like it, and the Mario Bros bits is a very nice touch.
Very. Now then, the overall game's design and graphics is a big leap from the last 2 games. well, kinda similar to Mario Bros. 2 in a way. Kinda. Other objects are more graphically detailed, like pipes, ground elements, etc. Music, on the other hand, was developed and composed by Koji Kondo. Fits the game's atmosphere fairly well, from a bouncy feel-good vibe for Grassland, sandy and dry for Desertland, calm and collected for Waterland or Seaside, my personal favorite for being so excited and bouncy for Giantland, chill for Skyland, creepy and eerie for Iceland. I don't know why, it's just freaking ice. The I'm gonna get mugged between the alleyways of New York City on a warm summer night vibe for Pipeland, aka Hell, and a grimacing dark vibe for, well, Darkland of course. He does a very good job in capturing the general tone of the game for the levels and the worlds prepared and stored as Mario embarks on his quest to save Peach. The ship's theme prepares the player for what's gonna come after entering the pipe. Battle with Hammer Brothers having a competitive feel as you defeat them with ease. Or not, if you're a noob, get good. And amongst other themes.
Yeah, the music is really good, and so are the graphics and the designs of them. The whole game has this theater thing going on, with the platforms being screwed on, the opening and ending having the curtains, and even how the level ends with you walking off to the end and collecting a card, which, if you match all three of them, you can get more lives. But even if you don't match all three of them, you'll still get at least one life. There's also eyes everywhere. Help? There are a few odd things though, like why are the undergrounds blue? Same with the fire flower sometimes, is it supposed to be the ice flower? And on the map, the super leaf is supposed to be brown, not green. Is it some sort of illegal substance? The boss is alright, a slight downgrade compared to Mario 2 USA, but they do the job. The tower levels will have Boom Boom at the end, and he's probably the easiest boss in the whole franchise. He runs, every time you stomp him he gets spikes for a little bit, jump on him 3 times and he's dead as a Game Boy battery. Sometimes he'll have wins, but and he shows up so much. I know he's just a mini boss, but still. But then we've got the Koopalins. Once you get to the last level of whatever world you're in, you'll have to go through this airship level and dodge all of these obstacles in your way. And at the end, you'll fight one of the 7 Koopalins. And honestly, they're all pretty similar. They jump around and shoot their magic at you. The bigger ones will cause a shockwave when they land, Lemmy Koopa has bouncy balls, and Windy O Koopa has these rings. They're decent enough, I suppose. It's weird how you can bounce off the shells even though they're spiky. Of course, similar to the other Mario games, you have to go through a level to get to them. Towers for Boom Boom, and flying airships for the Koopalins. And they can be pretty scary, especially mixed in with the music. The towers are also home to scary enemies like Thworms that will try to squash you if you get too close, dry bones which will come back to life after stomping on them, and ghosts called Boos, which will fly right at you but won't move if you're facing them. They can also be pretty fast in this game, later games have them move very slowly. And the airships have cannons and bullet bills flying all over the place. Luckily, you can stomp on them, but you've gotta be careful. There are also auto-scrollers, and this is a pretty good use of auto-scrolling levels. Why did I hate them in the Yoshi Island review?
I'm actually really surprised they didn't incorporate their powers in Super Mario World afterwards. It's pretty much wasted potential, but it would have been pretty cool seeing what they at least do and updated sprite work as well. It maybe be too much, which is understandable.
So, you've retrieved the magic wands and saved the 7 kins. But uh-oh, Princess Peach has been kidnapped by Koopa Troopa.
So now Mario... wait, Trooper? Oh, he's a trooper, alright. And taking princesses, that is.
Bowser better give this guy promotion. This is only in the European version of the game, by the way. The American version just says King of the Koopas. Once we get to a World 8, oh boy, you better strap in. This guy just throws everything at you. You've really gotta keep on your toes. The first half has a bunch of airships that scroll way too fast, holy crap! Tanks, and even a normal airship in lava!
Actually, that's not lava.
What? It's not?
That's water.
That is the muddiest water I've ever seen. The second half has you passing through this section where a hand might drag you in. And the third half, well, they have levels. Pretty hard levels though. But yeah, you better hope you have enough lives for this world. And then we get to the final castle, which isn't actually as bad as far as castles goes. Probably one of the easiest ones. And then we get to Bowser, who honestly puts up more of a fight than the last time we saw him. This time, there are no axes. All you have to do is avoid his fireballs and his butt slam. Every time he does that, he breaks some of the bricks below. Break enough bricks and he's dead. A pretty easy fight, but back in the day, I could imagine some kids not knowing what to do for a minute or two.
Once defeated, the player is greeted with a toadstool who misleads them a bit with a joke. Thank you, Mario, but our princess is in another castle. Just kidding. Bye. If I were Mario, I'd toss her down the pit alongside with Bowser too. Imagine the stress of overcoming 8 worlds, feet sore and such from stomping on baddies, and you finally rescued your damsel in distress, only to be told a joke that she's in another castle. I would have lost it. The game then ends with the stage curtains covering the screen, only to open back up and reveal memories of your adventure from the previous lands, as a reminder of how far you've beaten the game.
And that was Super Mario Bros. 3. What do we think of it?
Despite some of its flaws from the previous games, I think that Super Mario Bros. 3 is a great breath of fresh air that stands out to both casual and especially newcomers that introduce them to the new challenges, quirky new levels, world exploration, and gimmicky power-ups as well. Wish I could say the same for Super Mario Bros. 2, that game is just too unforgiving.
The game's just fun. It controls great, the levels are fun, the power-ups are fun. It's just all fun. And it's really impressive how big of improvements they made over the first game. Sure, it can get a little tough in some areas, but it's worth it. And even the multiplayer part is more fun. With some tears shed.
Tears in a shed are right. We have even gone in depth with the version on Super Nintendo and GBA. Now, when it comes to Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Super Nintendo, it comes in a compilation called Super Mario All-Stars. Pretty much, it's just a recreation of the original game on NES with some pretty neat improvements over the music, graphics, and sound capabilities of the Super NES's sound chip. While gameplay is still the same as the OG NES counterpart, lots of things have been graphically enhanced to fit the vibe of the Super Nintendo, such as the detailed environments, enemies, detailed looks on the Koopalings, and Mario himself sporting a nice in-game tan. Lucky plumber. Apart from that, for example, didn't like that pitch black background in the original? Well, it has been fixed to give off that actual castle vibe you've been looking for. Unless you like black and want to stare into the endless abyss to nowhere. Be my guest. Now you're playing with power. Superpower. Another thing about the Super NES version is that there's another variant of the game via Super Mario Collection on Nintendo's infamous Satellaview. Only difference is that levels are kept short and the fact that the levels from said worlds are added each week. Other differences also include the Toad Houses, featuring a new HUD or UI that makes you choose a chess like a quiz game. Wish that could have been kept in the All-Stars version all along. And since levels are short, you can only play 4 levels in such worlds. Oh, I did, however, forget to mention as a nifty little trick where in a Super Mario All-Stars original, if you destroyed a locked door on a world map, save, then come back later, it'll still be gone. Such a clever idea for the big end themselves, and something even I didn't know.
And in 2003, we got another remake for the Game Boy Advance called Super Mario Advance 4 Super Mario Bros. 3. One of the best titles in all of gaming. If you watched my Mario 2 USA review, this should sound familiar. It's mostly the All-Stars version, but with a couple of differences. For one, we have an intro to the game now, which is neat. There's a lot of voice lines, but it's thankfully not as much as the first advanced game. If you play using the Game Boy player on the GameCube, you get a little bit of rumble on the GameCube controller, which is not worth it since the controller isn't very good for a game like this, and the rumble rarely happens. As expected, the screen is cropped, but it's actually not that bad. I was able to play through the whole game with little issue. But that's probably because the levels themselves have been edited to be a little easier, which is a good move, especially for a screen this small. An option to have the original levels would have been cool too, to give the player a bit of challenge if they like. Maybe like a difficulty option? But this is better. And of course, the e-reader. This accessory allowed you to scan cards into the GBA and play little games like NES Classics or Manhole, or even check out some Pokemon trading cards. But you could also scan cards into certain games by linking a GBA with an e-reader to a GBA with the game. Good luck, kids. And wouldn't you know it, Super Mario Advance 4 is one of those games, and probably used this tin the best. You could unlock demo videos, power-ups to store in the item box, and best of all, exclusive levels to play. And these are the ones, man. They're not just another Mario 3 level. They have gimmicks, enemies, and even power-ups from other Mario games. The Cape Feather from Super Mario World, you can pick up items from the grass like in 2 USA, even the stupid poison mushroom from Lost Levels, and at least you only had to scan the card once, and the level will be saved in the game. So if you do have a copy of the game with some of those levels still on them, do not delete. It's a shame that only 1/3 of the levels released outside Japan. But leave it to Nintendo to release this game on the Wii U and Nintendo Switch with all the e-reader levels unlocked from the start. And the Switch keeps the rumble while the Wii U removed it. I'm not gonna lie, I might like Advance 4 a little bit more than the All-Stars version. Not enough to get a Switch Online expansion pack though, not worth it yet. Thanks for joining in, Blazy. This was fun.
Indeed, sure was a kicker talking about one of the best games to exist on the NES, and its remakes that spawned afterwards. Now then, Retro, I'll get that paycheck you promised, so I'll be on my way.
Hey, I am once again really sorry about how these last couple of reviews have been taking a really long time to edit, so hopefully that's gonna stop now. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, share this with everybody you can even think about. And if they haven't seen it, they gotta, or else they have 5 seconds to live. If you didn't watch this video by now, you probably died. And special thanks to Blazy for clapping on me on this. It was a bit of fun. Interesting to see what his opinion was with the game and everything. He did the Perfect Dark Game Boy Color thumbnail if you want to have a look at that. So he's a pretty good artist. And I definitely enjoyed checking this off the bucket list for completing this game, so there's that was nice to do. And yeah, it was something much easier than the Let's Play. I'm not sure what happened there, but anyway, I'll see you next time. Hopefully the next review will come out pretty soon. Yeah, bye bye.